I always believed our marriage was built on trust and mutual respect. Emily, my wife, was the epitome of grace and professionalism, working diligently as an executive assistant to a prominent CEO, Richard Caldwell. Our lives were intertwined with routines and shared dreams, painting a picture of domestic bliss. However, subtle changes began to surface. Emily started working late hours more frequently, her phone became a constant companion, and our conversations grew sparse. I dismissed these signs, attributing them to work stress and personal fatigue. One evening, as I prepared dinner, her phone buzzed incessantly. Curiosity got the better of me, and I glanced at the screen to see messages from RC, expressing affection and anticipation. A sinking feeling settled in my stomach. Determined to uncover the truth, I began observing her behavior more closely. Late-night calls, sudden weekend conferences, and a newfound attention to appearance painted a concerning picture. I decided to confront the situation head-on. Wikipedia. One Friday evening, I followed her under the pretense of a business trip. She checked into a hotel downtown, and shortly after, Richard arrived. Watching them together confirmed my worst fears. Heartbroken and betrayed, I knew I couldn't let this go unnoticed. I needed a plan, not just for retribution, but to reclaim my dignity and self-worth. Wholesomeness. I couldn't shake the image of Emily and Richard together. The betrayal cut deep, but I knew I had to keep my composure to plan my next move. I began documenting everything: photos, messages, call logs. Each piece of evidence was a dagger to the heart, but I needed them. I reached out to a private investigator, someone discreet and efficient. He provided me with detailed reports of their meetings, hotel stays, and even intimate dinners. It was clear this wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. It was a full-blown affair. One evening, Emily mentioned a weekend business trip. I feigned understanding, all the while knowing exactly where she would be. I booked a room in the same hotel, ensuring I had a front-row seat to their rendezvous. From my vantage point, I saw them laughing, touching, sharing moments that once belonged to us. The pain was immense, but it solidified my resolve. I wasn't going to confront her in anger, I was going to outsmart them. I began gathering information about Richard's company. Financial records, employee testimonials, any hint of misconduct. It wasn't long before I discovered discrepancies: embezzlement, harassment claims, and more. Richard wasn't just unfaithful, he was unethical. With this information, I approached a journalist friend, someone who had a knack for exposing corporate scandals. I provided him with the evidence, ensuring Richard's downfall would be both public and humiliating. As the story broke, Emily was oblivious, still entangled in her web of deceit. I waited patiently, knowing the impact would be seismic. And when it hit, it would be my turn to watch from the sidelines. I meticulously planned the confrontation, ensuring every detail was accounted for. Emily's birthday was approaching, and she had planned a weekend getaway with Richard under the guise of a business trip. I saw this as the perfect opportunity to execute my plan. I reached out to Emily's family and close friends, informing them of a surprise birthday party I was organizing for her. I told them she would be thrilled to see everyone together to celebrate. They were all enthusiastic and agreed to keep it a secret. On the day of the supposed business trip, I knew Emily and Richard would be at a luxury hotel downtown. I coordinated with the hotel staff, who, upon understanding the situation, agreed to assist me. They provided me with access to the suite where Emily and Richard were staying. That evening, I gathered Emily's family and friends in the hotel lobby. We had a birthday cake, balloons, and party poppers, everything needed for a surprise celebration. Everyone was excited, unaware of the real reason behind the gathering. Positive med. We took the elevator up to the suite, and with the master key provided by the hotel staff, I opened the door. We all burst in, shouting, "Surprise!" The room fell silent as we found Emily and Richard in a compromising position. Gasps and murmurs filled the room as the reality of the situation sank in. "Pop sugar. +1. Maryland. +1. Emily's face turned pale, and Richard scrambled to cover himself. Her mother dropped the cake, and her father looked at me, seeking an explanation. I calmly addressed everyone, revealing the affair and presenting the evidence I had gathered. Positive med. +2. Pop sugar. +2. Maryland. +2. The room erupted into chaos. Emily's friends consoled her mother, while her father confronted Richard. Emily tried to explain, but her words fell on deaf ears. I stood there, feeling a mix of emotions, betrayal, sadness, but also a sense of closure. After the confrontation, I left the hotel, leaving Emily to face the consequences of her actions. I knew that this was the beginning of a new chapter in my life, one where I could heal and eventually find happiness again. I stood outside the hotel, the cool night air brushing against my face, as the weight of the evening's events settled in. Inside, Emily was left to confront the shattered remnants of her double life. The public exposure of her affair with Richard had not only humiliated her but also severed ties with her family and friends. In the days that followed, the scandal made headlines. Richard's unethical practices, now public knowledge, led to his resignation and a slew of legal troubles. Emily, too, faced professional repercussions, her credibility tarnished beyond repair. I focused on rebuilding my life. The support from loved ones and the closure from confronting the betrayal provided a foundation for healing. I pursued new interests, traveled to places I'd always dreamed of, and, in time, opened my heart to the possibility of love again. Reflecting on the ordeal, I realized that while the betrayal had been devastating, it had also been a catalyst for personal growth. I emerged stronger, more self-aware, and ready to embrace the future with optimism.